Hello, Michael Grasso with Private Pook Games here, coming at you with a very casual video. I wasn't 100% sure where I was going to go with this video, but I did know I wanted it to be a little more casual, even more off the cuff than I usually am, and I speak pretty off the cuff when I'm doing game reviews and unboxings. But I do not have any notes. And if I was going to give this a label, I would say this is a general channel update. How are things going? And I think what made me want to do this is just generally seeing a lot more engagement on the channel. Really, really good engagement. And it's the sort of numbers, viewership wise, that most like really serious YouTubers would probably scoff and laugh at. But for me, someone who is not a serious YouTuber and has no intention of being a serious YouTuber, just someone who uses this format very casually and for fun, I was really surprised, for instance, to find out I now have a couple videos that have gotten 3,000 views. When I first started this particular YouTube account way back in 2013, I would have figured I would have been lucky if 10 to 15 people watched any content I was willing to put out. And there was, I did, technically have an account way back in the day when YouTube was not owned by Google, but that's like going back into the Stone Age for some of you who actually regularly watch YouTube. So that's a whole nother conversation. But, I started it up in 2013. I don't remember the exact reason why I started it, but I do know that around 2015 was when, I had a book deal for a children's book. I say children's book, it was really like a middle grade, middle school, upper elementary, middle school age book that was going to be published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt in 2016. So I started doing, author videos. I did a bunch of stuff of me playing on random drums because the book was called I Am Drums. It was very drum themed. And so I kind of just did those videos just to have something to post on my website, just to have something to embed. And yeah, some people watched them. Some people thought they were super funny. Teachers who were reading the book with their class showed them to their kids. The kids liked them. I got a lot of positive, letters about that. But it wasn't once again, it wasn't anything about trying to get higher viewership. It was just, let's have a way to put videos online that people who were looking for more info after reading the book can see. At some other times, I did some game development logs where I talked about both working on Drilly Willis, talked a little bit about some of the music that was in there, put trailer for the game that I eventually released on Steam. It's still there. It's and I'm really proud of it. It's not perfect by any means. It's clearly a indie developer working by himself, written all over the game, but it was something I was very proud of, and I was able to hopefully reach a few more people by posting things about the game and what my thought process was with them. There's certainly also, you can find songs I've released, also ones that are on, Spotify and Tidal. Those are all there. And this is all stuff that I've never done with any expectation of huge reward. I make things because I like to make them. That is the reason I do them. My philosophy is, well, one day we're all going to be worm food anyway. I want to make sure that if there's something I'm interested in trying, I actually try it, as long as it's not something that harms anyone else. So if I have an interest in something, I'm going to give it a shot. And if I go down swinging, well, then at least I tried it. So I've done that with many, many, many things in life. And I guess right now, what that leads me to is eventually I started posting videos about board games. And this was after doing author stuff, which, was fun. I did a little bit, I forgot to mention, I did a little bit of video game streaming. It was a lot of fun. I would basically find weird indie games and I would stream them. You can probably still find some of it on here. And as fun as that was, it's one, I just don't, when I'm playing a video game, I want to be by myself. I don't want people watching, so it didn't make sense for me to be a streamer. There's also, I teach middle school by day, so I don't, need students jumping on. That's one of those things where I would like a divider between the two, and I think that's appropriate to do that. But then I ended up making videos, not live videos, just videos about board games. And for some reason, those have been the highest watch that I've made. And that's been very cool. It was very surprising. I didn't expect much out of it. I didn't do it with any intention to be a superstar YouTuber, and I have no intention of ever becoming one. That's more attention than I would honestly want. Uh, but it was nice to see lots of people watching these videos. And yeah, a lot of that, for instance, probably comes from the fact that Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era was a really important release, and I got my hands on one relatively quickly. That probably has more to do with Chip Theory games and Elder Scrolls than it does with me, but it was still nice to hear people chiming in, conversation starting in the comments, people giving really good feedback on it. And am I perfect at this? No, but has it been nice to see maybe that there's more people paying attention to this than I ever expected? Yeah, it is very nice. And I wanted to come on here, and I guess that's the biggest reason for this video. I found myself reflecting on all the things I've done on YouTube, and this just seems to be a nice one. So I'll take that as a cue for right now to keep doing it. I do have other priorities in my life, so I'm never going to be one of those people who puts out 2 to 3 videos a day, but I'll try to put out as many as I can when I feel like I have something to review or something interesting to say. And it sounds like my thoughts on board games are the ones people want to hear, so I'll keep going in that direction until I get bored of it, pretty much. Thank you otherwise, and while we're on the subject of board games, I will be at Gen Con in Indiana this next coming week. Are we a week away, week and a half away? So if you're there and you run into me and you have something nice to say, come and say it. If you run into me and have something not nice to say, write it down, go home and throw it away, because why would you do that? Be a good person. Other than that, thank you so much for anyone who's watched. I'm not expecting this video to get a ton of views, and that's okay with me. I did want to make sure anyone who did see it, who does see it, knows that I've appreciated the extra views and the extra love we've been getting lately. Thank you. Have a good day.